We're going to do four views of the wrist. We're going to be centering at the carpal bones, mid-carpal area. We're going to collimate down, so we have at least a third of the distal radius and ulnar. We're going to curl the fingers up. This gives us, we reduce our OID. By OID, I mean the space that's in here, so we can't see that. If we don't do that, well, we're going to get some OID of the carpal bones. So we curl the fingers over to make sure the wrist is actually touching the IR. Now, if you could also, if you put the hand straight out, put your fingers straight out, you're going to notice that from doing that, this actually went up, so now we have a space underneath here. So always curl the fingers over, just like that. So we have basically all the way up to the MCP joints, and we have distal third of the radius and ulnar. Next projection is going to be an oblique. So you notice the patient is at a right angle to the table. The table is up. So I'm going to oblique the patient 45 degrees, centering in the mid-metacarpal area. And again, all the way to the MCP joints and a third of the distal radius and ulnar. The next projection we're going to do is a lateral. Now it's going to be a lot easier to do the lateral with the patient's arm straight out. Patients have a real hard time if they had a fracture or right out of a cast to actually turn their wrist into a lateral. So this is okay. So this patient's elbow is not at a 90-degree angle to the table, and you can do this straight out. I'm still going to center to the mid-carpal area. I'm going to collimate down, collimate back in. And you can touch the patient, just make sure that their wrists are lateral, but just be real careful because it's an injured patient, and let them know you're going to touch them. And that would be a good lateral wrist. So radius and ulnar should be superimposed over each other. Our next projection is going to be a scaphoid view. So again, we're going to bring the wrist at a right angle to the table, bend the elbow at 90 degrees. Now on this one, we're going to ulnar deviate as much as the patient can possibly do. And we're going to center, there's two ways to do it. You can center right on the scaphoid. So where's the scaphoid? So don't get confused. So here's the thumb. First metacarpal is the trapezium. So the scaphoid is right below that. So the scaphoid is actually right here. We're going to angle the tube between 10 and 15 degrees. I prefer 15 degrees to elongate the scaphoid. Carpal bones are an irregular bone. We're trying to elongate that bone. It is the most often fractured carpal bone in the wrist. So we can center just like that. So we basically have the entire wrist on, but we're centering on the scaphoid. Make sure we have room for our marker. Now you can also, if you really want to, and half the people do and half the people don't, but they center right down to the scaphoid. So collimate right down to the scaphoid. So you have to trust where the scaphoid actually is. You have to know where it is. So it's just below the trapezium. And that would also be a good film. So just ask the technologist that you're with if they need the whole wrist or just the scaphoid bone by itself.